Hey everybody, ready for a wild one? Buckle up, because today we are diving headfirst into the perplexing, the peculiar, the downright fascinating case of Pepi.
This is one of those cases, and I know we always say that, but this one really does make you wonder, what's really going on here?
Right, like on the surface, Pepi, just a kid, right? But there's something about him, something that sets him apart, something that leaves you kind of scratching your head.
Definitely more than just your average kid next door.
So we're cracking open the source material here, we're talking about Pepi's experiences, and let's just say the picture isn't exactly a Norman Rockwell painting.
No, far from it.
It kicks off in a schoolhouse. Kids, excitement, anticipation for recess, the usual. But then, bam. Chaos erupts, the scene's going haywire, and Pepi, well, he's right smack in the middle of it, like the epicenter of an energy earthquake. And I gotta say, the source material really paints this vivid picture of how nobody actually seems to know what happened.
That's a really good point. The source material is pretty vague about the specifics of what happened.
Yeah.
We just get this sense of utter pandemonium, and then, poof, all the other kids are gone.
Gone. More like vanished. Like they didn't just wander off. The source material even says disappeared.
Yeah, disappeared. Like, poof, into thin air, which, sends chills down your spine a bit.
And this whole disappearing classmates thing, that's not a one-time deal. Seems like a recurring theme with Pepi.
Right. And it makes you wonder, really wonder about the nature of these disappearances. Is there a connection? Or is it just a series of really, really strange coincidences?
The plot thickens,
Yeah.
and the source material keeps dropping these little breadcrumbs. Like we hear from other kids, classmates, they steer clear of Pepi, call him unusual. Not exactly the kind of words that scream, let's be best friends.
Kids can be brutally honest, can't they? And that word, unusual, it's almost like they're sensing something different about Pepi, something they can't quite put their finger on.
Different. This isn't just a kid with a quirky sense of humor. The dude broke an ox's legs. An ox, we'll get to that.
Right, of course. There's different, and then there's that. But I think it's important to remember, we're trying to understand Pepi, not judge him.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of understanding Pepi, we gotta talk about the dinner table scene with his dad. It's like watching a one-act play where the tension's so thick you could cut it with a butter knife.
Absolutely. And you can really sense the father's struggle. He's trying so hard to connect with Pepi, to find some common ground. And that's where the potato joke comes in. That old chestnut, what do you call a potato with a...
Yeah, I get it. No need to rehash the punchline.
Right, of course. But it's the dad's delivery, his desperation almost, that's really telling. He even reminisces about his own childhood, painting this picture of normalcy, of simplicity. You can practically hear the longing in his voice.
And you can practically hear the crickets chirping after the punchline. Pepi doesn't exactly crack a smile.
No, not quite. But the dad doesn't give up. In fact, he actually comes right out and acknowledges Pepi's, well, let's just call them unique abilities. And he's worried.
He should be. This kid's got a temper and a right hook that could knock out Tyson in his prime.
That's a bit of an exaggeration, don't you think?
Maybe. But the source material doesn't hold back. He doesn't just get mad. He explodes. And when he explodes, people or, oxen tend to get hurt.
Well, there is that incident with the ox during the grape harvest.
Exactly. Talk about a party foul. 1 minute, everyone's jolly, stomping grapes, laughing. The next, it's like a scene from a Greek tragedy. Pepi loses it. Bam!
The ox is down for the count, and Mom. Let's just say she had an unexpected encounter with a woodpile.
Okay, so maybe explodes isn't too far off the mark.
Yeah, explodes is putting it mildly. And the thing is, you'd think after something like that, Pepi would, show some remorse. Maybe a little bit of, oops, my bad.
But instead, he says what? He just shrugs it off like it was nothing. And then, and this is the kicker, he says he wants to go play jump the weeds with his friends.
That's the part that always gets me. That dissonance between this horrific act and this childlike desire to just play. It's jarring, unsettling.
It's like his brain is a bag of cats. You never know which one is going to jump out next.
Exactly. It makes it incredibly difficult to predict his behavior and almost impossible to understand his motivations.
But the final line, though, that's the real gut punch. I'm going to crush their heads like nuts. Like, what do you even say to that?
It's chilling. Especially when juxtaposed with his earlier statement about wanting to play. It leaves you with this lingering sense of unease, of dread almost.
Like, is he just messing around, or is there something more, something darker, lurking beneath the surface?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's what makes Pepi's story so fascinating, so disturbing, and ultimately so unforgettable. He's a walking, talking question mark, a puzzle we may never fully solve.
A puzzle with a mean right hook.
Well, we can't forget about that right hook, can we? But that's Pepi for you, a captivating enigma. What do you make of him?